righty. Let's stop audio. We'll come over here.
Said yes, the tools are separate. They have individual.
That one. Hang on, guys. I'm finding
And that
it.
liquidity supported the
All
stability
right,
of the
there we go.
financial
Now you
system
guys can hear.
without restricting the use of our monetary policy tools to promote price stability.
What's up, guys?
While the financial stability tools help to calm conditions in the banking sector, developments there, on the other hand, are contributing to tighter credit conditions and are likely to weigh on economic growth, hiring, and inflation.
I'm gonna point
So as a
out his
result,
VIX
our
is
policy
rocking right
rate
now.
may not need to rise as much as it would have otherwise
Right
to
after
achieve
he
our
came
goals.
down and filled
Of
that
course,
gap.
the extent of that is highly
That's funny.
uncertain.
Thank you. And of course, that I think the effectiveness of those tools is reflected in the fact that the FOMC has actually raised interest rates twice since the emergence of the banking strain.
Yeah, so I'm gonna know is you had a 1 hour bearish divergence going on as you came up here. There was also right as SPY came right up to the gap and
which is in fact
just missed it. Honestly, guys, as a bear, you want to see this thing get filled. All right, 421.22, like gap fills, guys. Once you get like, let's put it this way: this is resistance. After this, this becomes a magnet. After this resistance, this becomes a magnet. Yeah, these are just things you want to,
and that's also
you want to fill if you were a bear.
In academia and in policy circles as to whether or not the inflation process post-pandemic is going to look quite different than prior. Jay, maybe we can start with you. A number of folks have argued that we are entering.
Oh, you guys can hear, like, it sounds good, right?
More
let me know.
Would love to hear your views on
it's working.
Whether you think that's a possibility and what that might mean for central banks.
So it's a great question, and it's one I think we'll be dealing with for quite a long time. And I'd say it's certainly possible that we'll see continued supply shocks. I also think it's just very hard to forecast.
Guys, is the audio working? Can you hear Mr. JPOW?
Is thought to have said,
is it a
and
thing?
you're the baseball expert. You can confirm or deny this, but it is difficult to make predictions, especially about the future. So I think that the best we can do at this stage is probably to just identify further negative supply shocks. I will say that, though, that positive supply shocks related to globalization largely probably contributed significantly to the period of low inflation that either ended or was interrupted by the onset of the pandemic. And I'm thinking there of the vast increase in global labor supply, the development of efficient global supply chains, facilitated by technological advances and things like that. And I would say those
Jesus, Mr. VIX, what you doing, buddy?
Seem likely to be
repeated. What are you doing right on the hourly gap fill, buddy?
The drivers of the current
literally reversed off the gap fill.
Included a sequence of large
guys, it's just another example. Patience has to be executed in the market, like straight up. All right, this is something we all knew.
Services is good. The goods.
Basically, no, it's not loud. All right, let me make it louder.
Russia's war against Ukraine brought further shocks to global supply chains, particularly supplies of energy and non-energy.
Hey, try turning up your volume, because
we can't know how persistent those shocks
it's turned
will be,
up all the way that I
whether
can really turn it up over here, and it's definitely loud in my ears.
Will globalization be partially or fully halted or reversed?
Guys, can you hear it? Is it like normal audio? Please let me know. Everyone, let me know.
We know that now.
I need to know.
But for policymakers, the bottom line is that central banks will continue to be responsible for providing price stability, and that will require us to navigate whatever additional supply shocks do occur. So as Tomas and
go on my own stream on my phone here.
Wrote in the inflation targeting book, what a central bank can do is control inflation, and that is true over time, even in the presence of supply shocks, should they come.
Ben, I'd love to hear your views on this.
So unusual events which disrupt normal economic functioning often are followed by inflation. Examples are World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and now the pandemic. And the pandemic just makes it harder for policymakers to understand what's happening and to react appropriately. And in particular, the pandemic scrambled the labor market, made it harder to judge the state of the labor market. The opening led to a very extended rise in commodity prices, which was difficult to deal with. We had supply chain issues, which was pretty much a new thing, which was also a contributor to inflation. So there are many features of the pandemic that made this an unusual episode and a difficult episode to address. That being said, I think that, and I've done some research on this.
Ajax, 100% that is on your end, because I just checked it out for myself. It's definitely A1 audio. A1 like the steak sauce.
You have a bunch of bad shocks, that's going to give you a problem, but the underlying mechanisms of supply shocks.
Yeah, right? This seems like a, like it started off as a very calm,
so I think, I don't think it's
cool, like little talk
major
they're
change
having.
in
Now they're talking about the important
process that
stuff.
generates inflation, only a series of
They're
shocks
joking
related to the
about
pandemic
how when
gave
they're
us
growing
this,
up, inflation was
this
like
episode going
above
forward. I agree
10%
with
or
Jay.
whatever.
We can't predict.
And people now just like, hey, that's not something. I mean, at least me, like I didn't grow up with this. I don't think inflation was that high when I was, under 10 years old. Up 2010.
We've got, green investment, things like that might affect the price and availability of fossil fuels. And so there are many things that we
pandemic.
can't predict.
Dude, straight up, this pandemic, I don't know, guys. This pandemic, this whole time could have just been a massive excuse for them to save the system, right? Before I knew about the market, that's what I was thinking, and I'm still thinking it right now. So,
particularly longer-term inflation expectations, reasonably well anchored, which is always sort of the first step in getting control of inflation.
You mentioned the role of the labor market tightness.
Yeah, guys, I was recording a video earlier, and my monitor, literally, my HDMI cable stopped working on one of my monitors. So,
5-decade
yeah, that video was scrapped, but that was
yet
supposed to come out like half an hour ago.
To get up to 2% on a sustained basis.
But yeah, guys, in that video, I was saying we either get the Powell pump or we get the Powell dump. It's one or the other. All right, you're very likely not going to trade flat off Powell.
It's far above 2%.
So far, you have a
in that context,
top detail up here, just like you had up here.
Be thinking
Holy crap, that
about
looks similar.
The relationship between slack in the labor market and inflation differly.
Is this Bernanke?
Right
Or that guy to me sounded nervous. I don't know what that guy's name is.
Unemployment is, or is that really, or is slack really not the key to understanding?
Yeah, dude, I shit you not. My whole Like, it wasn't just like a thing where I could unplug it and plug it back in, though. It literally was like an hour-long process of trying to figure out what the hell was wrong. I went and unplugged the freaking HDMI cable from the TV, came back, plugged that one in, started freaking blowing up dust back there, and then I started to, you know, I downloaded AMD Adrenaline again over here, so playing Strangles. Nah, I'm not even playing this. I am sitting in my puts, and I am doing that, all right?
There has been some scrambling.
Because right now I got July puts, I got June puts, and then we got SQQQ loaded up. We got 200 shares of that. I'm just gonna tell you, like, hey guys, here, let me turn off this or turn down this audio real quick.
Relationship between inflation and unemployment.
You just turn down the volume over here.
In particular, what can
it is the thing. Yeah, guys, straight up, all right, people are saying this is an obvious setup. This is something I wanted to release the video earlier because I wanted to tell people, like, hey, everyone's saying this is an obvious setup. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not an obvious setup, all right? Let's come over to the Fear and Greed Index. Let's come over to, yeah, just let me pull this up. This thing is at 69. This thing is at 69, guys. This is extreme fear. This is 100% what extreme fear looks like. This is the exact opposite. So anyone who's sitting there telling you that this is an extremely obvious short setup, yeah, all right. To the vast majority of people, it is. But anyone who is thinking that was probably thinking that back down here as well. I mean, guys, I entered, I think it was May 17. Yeah, when I started entering my shorts. And yeah, all right. Yesterday, I had my jaw drop. So, like, this is 100%. This is the jaw-dropping move, but anyone who freaking got short down here, they got wrecked, all right? Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts on that. It doesn't matter if you had, like, even the July contracts. I'll just come over, pull up Webull real quick. I'll just show you. Let's turn that guy back up.
Both of those questions.
There we go.
I think what really is different this time was the series of unexpected and persistent supply shocks that featured in the inflation process. I don't think labor market slack
we're in SPY, guys. Like, it doesn't matter even if you have 60 days on your freaking contracts, all right? If you get a $10 move here, oh, I'm on the wrong ticker. I want to keep
by contrast, I do think that labor market slack is likely to be an increasingly important factor in inflation going forward. In particular, inflation in non-housing services is showing signs of real persistent in this highly diverse.
But yeah, even if you got 60
60
days in your contracts, guys, I mean,
and that
hey, you're still gonna get 30% down by the time you just look at this, right? In the money, $900. You come $10 out the money.
Explained, I think, using our standard
$600.
framework for
All right, you're losing
understanding labor markets.
30%. It's going to happen on any one of these.
This way, that the natural rate of
any one of
employment
these strikes.
probably rose sharply.
All right, you
as
can
the
even buy your
pandemic
August
severely
contracts.
disrupted the labor market.
All right.
And the implication of that would be
Look at
that an unemployment rate
$10
of
out
say
the money.
4%.
You're still going
indicated a
down
much tighter labor market
25%.
in
So like, yeah, I mean, you're going to be in
2021
pain
than
regardless. So
2018.
like, and I'm just saying, it's
And as
scary to
Ben
short here,
mentioned, of
guys.
course,
I want to
after the
go all in
pandemic, we
short so
began
freaking
looking
bad.
at
I
much
just
more
remember what
closely at
happened when I did that at the
alternative
Feb,
measures,
like
particularly
loading up
vacancies, but
here,
also
and then I
quits,
had to
which have
freaking,
been signaling
I had to do
even
what I had to do
greater
back then,
tightness
and then
than
I
the
had to,
unemployment rate alone might have been
to switch my
might have
tone
come
up. So,
to signal.
I'm not putting myself in that situation this time. Not a freaking chance, all right? And I don't think any of you guys should either, all right?
We had 4% roughly
I mean,
unemployment.
obviously, like, I'm not the best with my money. I haven't proved anything, but like, hey, all right?
Unemployment ratio was
I think it's a pretty wise thing to go about, not going all in because you think something's going to happen. Because in reality, it can move up. That is a thing.
Standalone.
SPY is over here. And SPY is over here. Over here, those are magnets.
Highly elevated. The other thing is, it may also be the case that the Phillips curve has steepened, meaning that inflation has returned, at least for now, to being more responsive to changes in the labor market slack. But the Phillips curve was once thought to be fairly steep after flattening. Relationships in the economy, like the Phillips curve, evolve over time. So I would not characterize that as a problem for our understanding of inflation.
Why don't we do a split screen?
Very good, thank you. Maybe we can pivot here to the topic of central bank communications. It's widely understood now that the better the public understands the conduct of monetary policy, the more effective it will be. But fostering that type of understanding really requires a lot of communications, and of course, that can be hard. Both of you have been powerful advocates for advancing monetary policy communications, both with an eye toward making policy more effective, but also for the purposes of promoting transparency and accountability. Ben, you've obviously played a critical role here, advancing the FOMC's communications, including the introduction of press conferences after FOMC meetings, the introduction of the summary of economic projections. So what changes over this period since the communication, say, revolution began, would you highlight as being some of the most effective, most important? And where do some remaining challenges exist?
Well, let me talk about communication.
We'll say you had the bulls fridge going on right here as you came into the gap fill, though.
I mean, one of its purposes, the narrow purpose, is to try to align market expectations with the Fed's own thinking. I think that goes back to Alan Greenspan. If you go back to 1994, the first FOMC statement. I mean, since then, the Fed has tried at least to give some indication of what it's thinking and what it sees as the risks to the economy. But beyond that, you mentioned transparency and accountability. This is a powerful institution. It's very important that
I just want to point out on the 5-minute chart, you could have written this AEMA up all day long yesterday. You would have had it right out the gate in the morning. All right, just could have literally entered your calls, not taking profit until the first candle closed underneath, which was after hours.
Having a conference here.
You're sold at the end of the day.
If the Fed puts out the issues that it's concerned about, economists will write articles or tweet and respond to that. Or in the case of the Fed Listens program, maybe it would be more ordinary people who are explaining, how monetary policy affects them.
Hey guys, Junior, like it up. Like it up.
Diversity of views.
I don't think it helps the algo in these live streams, but like, hey, here we go.
The outside perception is the Fed is subject to groupthink, which of course is possible, but with people talking about, their own views and explaining why they see the economy as they do, it does, I think, at least to some extent, show that there is a range of opinion on the committee. In terms of tools, I guess I do feel proud about the press conferences, which I introduced 4 times a year.
Moderators to YouTube Lives.
Summary of economic projections, in which Chair Powell has taken to an art form.
You put people in timeout too, yo? Pretty cool.
I think also, just the inflation target, the forecasts that we release, And there's a
Big red
cultural
candle
change,
there.
which some people
over
don't
there.
like, but I think on net is good, which is, it used to be, if you look back at speeches in the Greenspan era, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis, would talk about,
Perfect. There's
harvest
definitely a
or
way to
something,
make a
wouldn't
split
talk
screen.
very
I
much
know
about
there
the
is. I've done
global
it.
or national
I'm just
economy.
not
Now
doing
you
it
have
right now.
a lot of people talking about
Our own version here.
different aspects of the Federal Reserve's views. And again, that contributes
Hey, thanks for liking the video, guys.
to both market transparency and also to accountability to the local constituency and to the
pin
national
chats too.
constituency.
This whole live streaming thing is pretty cool,
you, of
guys.
course, have continued to push forward on the communications and transparency fronts. Welcome your thoughts.
I think the broader setting is that transparency is especially important today. Polling data show that many important public and private institutions globally have struggled to retain the public's trust and support in recent years. Now, we're an institution that
Central
serves a
bank
critical
digital currency,
mission,
dude.
but
Yo,
to be
about a
here
year
and
ago,
what
they
there is to know
actually, I did.
particulars of what we do and
They
how
put
we
out
do
a
it are not
bill that
generally
was
top of
literally,
mind for
it
most
was
people.
going through, and it was exactly for
And on
that.
top
It
of
was,
that, we have a critical and a rare grant
literally at the start of the bear
independence.
market. I
And
remember
all of that
seeing
to me
JPOW
means that
start
we have a
mentioning it. He
special
was ringing
obligation
his
to
bell about
explain
that.
ourselves clearly, what we do, why we do it, to provide transparency to the public and their
Honestly,
elected
that's like the
representatives
only
in
way out of this
Congress
situation.
so that we
There's
can
no other
earn
way out
and
of this
deserve
situation.
their trust
All right,
and
guys.
support.
Like, markets are
That's
gonna
a
die.
critical task if
All
we are
right,
gonna
there's like only one
sustain
way this goes.
our
Either
democratic
they
legitimacy
turn on the
through
money printer, that's actually not a money printer, which
interesting
like right
period.
now I guess they got
My
QE going in the
colleagues and I
background
really take
anyway.
that as a primary and affirmative,
Or they
proactive
let this thing
obligation
die and
not
actually
something we see as
price
a burden
discovery
or
takes
of
control.
second order importance. So in that spirit, to your point, we have followed the example of Chairman Greenspan beginning in 1994 with the first
There we go,
post-meeting
guys.
statement, through Ben's innovations and Janet as well, in looking to foster greater transparency and accountability. And a couple of examples, we now do a press conference after every meeting, not just every other one. We have greatly expanded our congressional outreach to be certain that we hear directly from lawmakers on an ongoing basis, so that they have the information that they need to conduct appropriate oversight. As I mentioned, in 2019 and 20, we conducted a public review of our monetary policy framework, seeking input from a broad range of people and groups all around the country. We've also significantly expanded transparency beyond monetary policy. For example, we now publish semi-annual financial stability and supervision and regulation reports. Of course, there are always
Does any Discord members just
communication
know I will be
challenges,
purging the
especially,
Discord
I
this
find about
weekend.
communicating the
All right,
uncertainty that
so
attends
anybody
our
who's not
assessments of economic
in
conditions
the
and
trader
outlook.
role,
The
so
good
if you're not in the
example of this
Patreon,
is,
you will be
despite
kicked.
our persistent efforts to
Letting you
explain
know that we'll
otherwise,
be going
the
down.
policy paths
And if you
from
do
the
get kicked,
S&P
just know you just got to
seem
connect
regularly
Patreon
to be taken as a
to your
firm
Discord,
plan or a
and then
committee
there you go.
decision, rather than what they are, which is a compilation of individual participants' best assessments on a particular day of appropriate policy, under the assumption that conditions evolve in line with their baseline forecast.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, guys,
That's
like
just the
there really
challenge
is no
that
bull
we
case up here.
constantly
All right,
face in the context of great uncertainty.
there's not.
Despite that, I would say,
Like
though,
other
that
than
the
like,
summary
hey,
of
shorts are
economic
getting
projections has
squeezed
actually
whenever
been
shorts
very
decide to
useful
stop
during
getting
this tightening
exposed, and
cycle
you
as
pair
markets
that with a
have
catalyst,
looked ahead
or
and priced in future rate hikes.
like
long
honestly, guys, you
before
have the
they're
May
actually
19 optics. This was the big optics that they were
last
trying to
point
squeeze the
really,
crap
brings
out
up
of.
the
All right,
idea of
it's
communications as
passing. This
being
is
an
what was holding up the
effective
market.
policy
If there's not
tool.
that thing propping up
I
the
guess
market,
key
honestly,
element
we're
of that
probably
is
gonna
the
go
use of
down.
forward guidance.
Plus, you got the
Jay, one
RSI doing
school of
that.
thought,
Like, what
forward
the heck?
guidance is a tool
And
that
luckily, your
should
boy
really
rang
only
his
be
bell.
deployed when
Didn't
interest
matter.
rates are effectively
Didn't matter how it
lower
looked in
bound.
the
So you
end.
can
All
no
right, your
longer
boy rang his bell
provide
that hey,
accommodation by
you're
lowering rates further, and
very
so you
likely
do
at the
so
top.
through communicating about the policy path in the future.
Hope that call is right, but we'll see.
But another school of thought,
So far,
forward
so
guidance
solid.
should be just a regular part of communicating with the public to convey the committee's policy intentions, even far away from the effective lower bound. Where do you come out in that?
I stand by what
I
I'm
think it- I
saying.
do
This is
think it
not an
depends on
obvious short setup.
circumstances.
This is
I do
terrifying to
think
go
that,
short, guys. I
forward
want to
guidance
go
can be
so
useful
much
when
short right
policymakers
now,
have a
right?
materially
I want the
different or
all-in
clearer
July puts.
view
I
of
just
the likely
can't
path
because,
of
like,
policy
again, I've
than
been
does the
through that,
interest
and
of
it
public.
puts you in a terrible
The
mindset.
effective
But
lower
also,
bound when we
you
need
know,
to
like if
provide
this
more
thing
stimulus by
skyrockets, you're
indicating
screwed.
intent
You're
to
completely
keep
screwed.
policy
But guess what?
accommodative
It's
longer
scary to
than the
do
public
so
expects.
here,
There's
and
a
like
use
I'm the
case
one
there.
who like.
I also
I'm
would say,
calling
though,
this
that
thing out. I'm
communication
just saying,
comes
this is
with
not an obvious short
often
setup.
misinterpretation, and it also
Everyone
may limit
knows. Everyone and their
flexibility.
mother knows. Hey,
So
you're
I think we
dangerous
should
if you're
use forward
short in here.
guidance
Everyone
sparingly
knows.
when the
Everyone
course of
knows.
policy is either reasonably well understood or on the contrary,
these guys
is
moving the market at all?
dependent on uncertain future developments.
see this?
that little really can be said.
There's that, and then you
about
come
the
over to
future.
SPY, you
And a
actually
good
had a bit
example
more of a
that was,
meltdown.
the March 2020
So yeah,
FOMC
I would say they're definitely
the
moving the market.
pandemic shutdowns were just beginning. The level of certainty was almost unimaginable. And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it really is
issue an
it
S&P
is a
at that
5-star
point.
short
Really,
setup.
our
It's
view was
sexy.
that
It's just
releasing the
terrifying to
forecast
do
at
so.
that
All
time
right, and then like I already
might have
showed
been
you guys,
more of
if
an
you're in greed,
obstacle,
guys, what's
to
up at
clear
70?
communication than a
Like,
help.
something to
In
know
contrast,
is you're
as I
actually coming
mentioned a
down and you
minute
were
ago, forward guidance has really been a
getting
useful
buying
and
pressure
effective
stepping in
tool
right here.
during the
So
current
that's something to
tightening
know.
cycle, as financial conditions have tightened well in advance of actual rate increases. You know, the 2-year tightened between the September 21 meeting and liftoff in March of 20. It tightened by 200 basis points before we ever actually lifted rates, and that's significantly because of our communication. So in the current context, until recently, it's been relatively clear that further policy firming would be warranted.
Damn,
and our
live
forward
streams
guidance
make it
has said so.
laggy. That is a
Has
thing.
said so. Now, however, we've come a long way in policy tightening, and the stance of policy is restrictive.
No, you
And we
went
face
long,
uncertainty
bro.
about the lagged
This is what I'm
effects of our
saying.
tightening so far.
You had no
and
business
about the
going
extent
long,
of credit
bro.
tightening from recent banking stresses.
No.
So today, our guidance is limited to identifying the factors we'll be monitoring as we assess the extent to which additional policy firming may be appropriate to return inflation to 2% over time. As I noted at the last press conference, that assessment will be an ongoing one as we move ahead, meeting by meeting. Having come this far, we can afford to look at the data and the evolving outlook.
I'm just saying, if there are people in the Discord, hey, just because like
Thank you.
you think it's
So you
going up, all
mentioned,
right,
that
does not
guidance
mean
can be
you
useful at
have to
times when
come off certain as that would
public may
likely
expect a
lead
very
to other
different
people
policy
making
path
bad
than
decisions.
policymakers.
All right, so
How do you
like
think about those sorts of
just
situations?
realize, all right, if
You're
people
right.
are
So
looking up to
recently,
you,
there's
all
sometimes
right,
been the
like
case that
just
markets appear
you
to be
know,
pricing
be
in a
cautious
different
of
rate
that
path than the committee expects would
because
be appropriate.
there's
But
definitely
I
someone
would say
saying that
disconnect
yeah,
does not
telling
seem
everyone
to
not to go
reflect a
short and-
misunderstanding of our reaction function
Yeah.
or a lack of belief that we'll do what's necessary.
it very
to bring
well can
inflation
shoot
down.
up. Like you
Rather,
have, you know,
it
you have
appears to
things
reflect
suggesting
simply
it
a
can
different
happen. You
forecast,
come over here to Apple
one
though,
which
like hey,
inflation comes down
the issue
much
that I
more
was
quickly
like, you
than the
know, I
committee
needed to see this
committee
check,
participants
this
think is
box
most
checked,
likely,
all right? It's not checked.
perhaps due to a
All right, I
significant
told you
downturn.
guys, like, this is what I was
would say
looking
also,
for.
so far,
With
the
the
data
favors bar.
have continued
I
to
just
support
realized
the
you guys
committee's
cannot
view
see the
that bringing
screen.
inflation down will take some time.
And here it is, all right? Let's see,
Moreover,
where's my favorite bar at? There we are.
Something we often don't remember to
Just walk
think
away
about is
from the
that
debt
market
talks.
prices always reflect both expectations and
It's funny.
compensation for risk. And what market participants say.
Well,
in
like Jerome's in
surveys
a
of their
like, guys, he's in a
expectations is actually
tight spot.
closer
Like
to
he
the
either
views in
causes
the
a pump
S&P
here,
than what's
or he
reflected in
causes a
market
dump.
pricing.
Like I was trying to say in the video before, you know, one of my monitors just died on me, but
market participants have
it's
theirs.
either you
Our
get the
role
pallet
is
pump, you
not
get the
to
pallet dump.
advocate
So
for
far,
a
we're getting the
forecast.
dump.
What we
We
can
could also
do
be
is
getting the
be
pump. I
clear
don't know.
about our expectations for growth,
Look at
unemployment,
that.
and inflation, and the likely implications for.
Let's actually look in the video. So I'll go over this in my video later today. All right, but anyone shorting this thing, just know I warned you. Warned you down here.
And of course, we
You didn't have signs of your blow off top yet. It was you looked like you were forming a base and consolidating, just like you were consolidating here, consolidating here, consolidating here. And guess what? It was a consolidation on a higher low.
Shelley Evans and
So
co-authors have made a useful
again,
distinction
yeah,
between what they call
you had your
Luddian
warning, but
and
guess
Delphic
what? What would I be
forward
looking
guidance.
for?
Luddian
All right,
forward
you're looking
guidance
for this
is a
thing
commitment
to now
forward
come back
guidance,
down and
which
lose
is rarely
307. You want to
used,
see
but
some structural damage, and
typically
after
it's
that, you want to
rule-bound,
see it come all the way back
where
down under
the
here.
central bank
What is this going to
promises to do
validate? It's
something
going to
and
validate what this
credibility
did
on
over
the
here. Well,
line,
this
but
did
will
right here. It
follow
was
a
your
certain
lower
path
low.
going forward,
All
and
right,
a
and
way
that's
of
what I
getting
was
more
saying. All right,
vigorous, and I think,
over
again, that
here,
goes back,
you're still
again, to
dangerous.
Alan
All
Greenspan,
right,
I
over
think,
here, that's where we are right now. At least I
indicate
think that's
that,
where we are.
a certain
Probably
path was very likely, and
we're
that, actually
somewhere
helps,
here in this
achieve,
process. But you're,
the
I'm
objectives.
serious. If you want to
Delphic
safely do
forward
it, you come
guidance is
down
basically
here,
just a forecast. Here's what we think.
and then you wait for that
Tomorrow we might think
pullback.
something different, but we're just trying to,
Or not.
as part of our transparency, we're just trying to give you a sense of where the economy is going and how we think policy will react. Now, as Jay points out, there are some problems in practice. One is people don't understand the difference all the time between a commitment and a forecast. That's something that Jay has emphasized, and I think should be emphasized.
All right, you
Another
lost
is
it, guys.
people,
We're gonna see. All
underestimate
right,
the
guys.
amount of
Sellers have
uncertainty involved,
defended
which
this
is
blue box.
enormous.
I think it was
So
like 13
I don't
times
think
since
you
they
can do
marked their
without
territory
some
over
form of
here.
forward
Yeah,
guidance,
guys, if you
because
see me doing
the idea of
analogies on dogs,
transparency
just know
says,
it's because
here's
I'm
what
with
we
my
see.
dogs all the time. All right, there's that.
And here's why
I
we're
also worked in a
thinking. And
doggy
so the idea
daycare
that
facility for
there's no
like
guidance
6
at
months,
all
so
most of the time, I mean,
Yeah, that
I
definitely
take March
hammered that
2020
into my
as a
brain.
example, but most of the time you do want to give at least a sense of where
But
you
yeah,
think
guys, you
the
want to see
economy and
buyers step
according
in
to
right
policy
here, or
are
like, hey,
heading. I think,
yeah,
just
we
if
have,
I might editorialize one more minute,
you know, that
I
move
think
down
one
could
of
be
the
starting.
issues is that the FOMC is so
Not gonna say you
large
have
and
confirmation.
geographically
You do not.
dispersed that it's
All
been
right, you
difficult
need
come
to
up
say,
with
just
a
like I pointed out in the
collective
video, you need to
committee
start taking out the lows.
forecast.
All
We
right,
tried
you
to do
need
that when I
to.
was chair. The dot plot is a compromise,
But
which
yeah,
is
your
not
AEMA
ideal.
all the way back
Other
down here at
central banks do
330.
other
So
things. Sometimes they have
you
collective
know, it's ridden this
committee
thing up
forecasts
the
that
whole
are voted
time.
on, or they use market rates, or they publish the staff forecast. So there are different ways to go about this. But again, I think that forward guidance is both an instrumental tool, but again, letting people know sort of how the central bank sees the evolving situation,
no, I didn't want to
even
do
if there's
it.
lots of uncertainty, which you can say
fire.
normally is part of transparency.
You highlighted uncertainty as being a key factor in dealing with some of these issues. Obviously, uncertainty is a pervasive feature of monetary policy making.
What you really want to see here, guys, you want to see a topping tail on QQ. If you are going short, you want to see this weekend with a topping tail. Regardless, you do have these weeks of decreasing volume, but we're going to have to see what happens here. Regardless, this is the biggest week we've had, 3% week. You have the lowest amount of volume. Not a good sign.
Do you view those
It's sign that a short squeeze is
context
taking
of the
place. That's what
uncertainties
all this
that
move is.
You and the committee faced about the economic
The
outlook
derivatives
and how
market.
risk management
Trying to tell people,
considerations factor
okay,
into your decisions?
if you think this move took place off of anything else, no. All right, you're completely wrong. We've been talking about this one for quite some time now.
Characteristic of the policy landscape. Worth remembering that he made that comment during what we now think of as the Great Moderation. So that statement has never been more apt than it is today. If you look back, the pandemic, the global shutdown,
let's pull that up, Ryan.
historically forceful.
We were going over
response
yesterday.
and reopening, all of that had no modern precedent. So it has been a time of historically
literally
elevated
this, right?
uncertainty and of unexpected outcomes. No advanced economy had ever faced a shutdown and a reopening, and now all of them would face it at the same time. So no matter what happened, the outcome was going to be unprecedented. So this
Yeah, dude, I
level of
remember in
uncertainty
COVID, like,
posed real
the guys, this
challenges
was
for
so,
policy and policy
like, we know,
communications. On one
they
hand,
knew what they were doing back
we had
then,
to be nimble.
and they
to
were
be able
willing to do it because,
respond
like,
to
I'm
the
president at the
evolving,
time. Makes sense.
situation. On the other hand, we wanted to be as clear as possible about what we were doing, lest we add to uncertainty. So I would say policy certainly has been nimble.
Oh, you use log scale. Okay.
Consistent with what within our expectations. The data did actually show declining inflation through September of 2021, but then turned decisively against that expectations thereafter. And
yeah, I swear I had this on my chart the other day. I don't know why it's not lining up. I took it off, but
raising rates by 500
took it off because, guys, the course, your boy is not freaking your boy is not swift with following his own script. All right, your boy always wants to go off script and just talk.
Over time.
And holy crap, I despise it. Because it makes recording those course videos so freaking frustrating.
Now, until very recently, it's been clear that further policy firming would be required as policy has become more restrictive.
There you go.
The risks of doing too much versus doing too little are becoming more balanced,
down here.
and our policy has adjusted to reflect that fact. But we haven't made any decisions about the extent to which additional policy firming will be appropriate. But given how far we've come,
they're saying they're not
we can afford to
certain
look at the
about
data and
additional
follow
rate
outlook
hikes.
and
That's
make
what they just
careful
said.
assessments.
Okay.
Ben, when you became a policymaker,
That's, you guys, it's not, I don't know, like, at the current point in time, guys, it's pretty freaking mixed. Like, are we bullish, guys? Are we bullish if it freaking, you know, if we keep raising rates because, you know, he's saying the economy can handle it? Or is the market going to have a freak out? Who freaking knows at this point? Like, I'm pretty sure if they announced a pause or a pivot, like, yeah, the market's probably going to squeeze its butt off and then it would freaking drop after, you know, it did what we just saw, just on steroids. But, like, without that, like, rates going up, I don't even know if that's good or bad anymore. I don't even know.
And a little bit later, it turned out that that inflation change had been revised away. And I asked the chair, do you think we can revise our interest rate
Baby
policy?
gains, yo. $540 ain't baby gains, yo. So many people would kill for $500 a day. All right, just like take that into consideration.
Just trying to make policy, it involves not just uncertainty about, you know, the data, about the model, about all the things that can happen.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, we could be going down to freaking 412 environment. We go back to 430.
And unfortunately, or fortunately,
very real possibility.
Given that monetary policy works with a lag,
Yeah, honestly, guys, you have
given
room
that
to
there are
pull
risks
back
on
here,
both
right? You
sides
have room to pull back and still make your higher high, but you're going to have to hold the blue box. You don't want to come back into this range.
Accept that uncertainty and try and do the best you can, being ready to adjust as new information arrives.
Very good. Thank you. We are getting close to the end of our allotted time. Maybe we could
No,
wrap
not
up
the
with just a
end.
quick
This is all we
question
got.
looking ahead.
All right, guys. So
Jay, maybe
we
start
did get the
with
PAL
you.
dump,
What do
but
you-
like it wasn't a
what
big
would you
dump.
point
I'll
to
tell you
as
that
some
right
of
now.
the key issues
We're gonna have to see.
that will be most relevant to the research community as well as to the policymaking community.
So I guess I would start with the labor market and what we talked about earlier of
RSI is getting down there.
vacancies in particular and the beverage curve and the whole discussion over whether
If you were short, say like on an intraday trader, right? You see this 15-minute RSI come down here. Not a bad idea to start taking some profits.
through the
I'm
vacancies
just
channel without a
throwing that one
significant
out there.
increase in unemployment. That would be more akin
Hicks
to what
woke
has
up,
happened
let's see.
in all prior cycles. Or most
Yeah,
prior
honestly,
cycles. So
dude, like let's
gonna
just
be
look at it this way,
question that we will
right?
resolve
Unless
empirically,
you
but I
start
think
getting your consolidation up here, right? It's
things about the
probably
workings of
gonna,
the labor
you're
market,
probably
at
opening
least
up the
in this
door
one
here for that blow off top,
situation.
right?
I
It's
think
literally, this was a blow off top,
on
all
monetary
right? Or this
policy,
is at
it's
least what
going to
I
be
look at a
interesting
blow off
to
top. This
look
was
back
also
and try
one
to
where you went
understand
straight up,
how
you found,
inflation
guys,
spread
you have so
from
many
what was
buyers. There you go. There you go.
at the
You
beginning
run
of
out of
growth in the
freaking
goods
buyers
sector
and they're straight
to a
sellers because no
rotation
one's
of
willing to
demand
buy it.
from services
All
to
right.
goods
This one, you'll
and-
also
and the
just surpass
tremendous
the
amount
high
of
over here.
support that
But yeah,
purchases
same thing over
got
here. You were going straight up,
monetary
right?
stimulus.
Squeeze.
How did it
Boom.
spread then
Ran out of buyers. Very rapid
really into the
decline.
service sector where-
Which is
where-
why, like,
where
hey, I'm
now
comfortable
significantly
holding the
resides, and
data
we're seeing
positions.
much
I'm
progress
fine with that.
on goods, and we have
Don't like the
progress
loss.
in the
All right, guys,
pipeline
I'm
on
serious.
services, but
I much
where we see
rather
persistent
trade
inflation is
intraday
now in the
than
service
what
sector. So
I
what
have
is
had
the
to sit through
mechanism
the
by
past 2
which-
days. So
and
yeah.
what are the implications?
Ben, you have the last word.
Well, I think one of the things that I would urge
Credit
researchers
crash
to look at is
similar
the
to February
relationship between
2020
monetary policy and
pre-COVID
financial
crash.
stability.
We shorts
Very,
into
very
monthly
difficult
optics tad during
relationship.
crash line.
Um,
Yeah,
you
dude.
read
Like
the
straight up,
papers,
this
you
is
see
just
that everybody
the
has a very strong opinion about this subject.
rug
but they
pull
don't
checklist
necessarily
right here.
correlate. As Mark Twain once said,
We're gonna have to see
the
though.
things
We
you
really
don't know
do.
can hurt you as
All
much
right,
as the
like,
things that
hey, you
for
know, if
sure,
you're
but
buying data up
so.
here, you're likely going to be in a winning position, all right? But
So,
like,
I think that we
we're
really do
gonna
not
need to see
understand,
some structural
to the
damage here. You've
extent that we
gone
need
straight
to,
vertical, all right? So
relationship
like, but
between
even if you
different
just get a
aspects of
pullback,
monetary
the pullback
policy,
should likely be a pretty
risk-taking,
decent pullback either
balance
way.
sheet behavior,
You've
et
went
cetera.
vertical. Look at this.
And
$13
it's just
straight up.
something- There's a lot of good work being done. Don't get me wrong. But,
That was 13
I
bucks.
think we need to understand much better.
$7 pullback, $8
What
pullback.
what the channels are, and to quantify the relationship so that we can think about to what extent we need to take that into account in monetary policy.
Very good. Well, let me thank both of you tremendously for sharing your perspectives with us today. It's been a highlight of our conference honoring Thomas Lobach. And so thank you very much.
What, bro? Literally what? Hey, yo. Hashtag Discord. I think SPY could definitely reach 427. All right. And hey, guys, resume the pump? Question mark? Resume the pump? I don't know. All right. I am looking for that. I'm looking for you to top out. But like in reality, guys, he didn't just say anything terrible. And it's the same thing as FOMC. All right. This is the May 19 OPEX. But let's come over here and actually review what's going on these option chains, right? Because in reality, all right, all of these puts are out the money and all the calls are in the money. So, you know, the max pain over there for SPY today, I think it did change down to like 407. I think I saw this morning. But it might still be at 411. I'm not sure. Yeah, guys, let's just look at this option chain. All right, both for May 19, guys, like straight up, this is so bad. All right, like straight up, I like that sucks, dude. All right, look at these 410 puts. All right, these 410 puts, they died. All right, they weren't a cent yesterday. They were 40 cents. You just lost everything. All right, you got that. You had the 415 puts in the money yesterday, which was like $200. All right, guess what? They're freaking dead now too. All right. So like, this is what I'm saying. All right. All of the puts that were, you know, being accumulated because this was an obvious short setup. have now either been completely crushed because they were on this OPEX, or a lot of them are going to be on this next OPEX. Let's just look what happened to some puts over there on this move. All right. Say you got the 400 puts. All right. They're going for 230 right now. Bet they're like 300 or 400 the other day. That I do. All right. Look, 2 days ago, they were $409, guys. You have lost 50%. Do you not think a lot of people have panic sold, or at least they're sitting in a lot of pain, and now you have a lot of freaking people on the call side of things? All right, so meh. That's all I gotta say there. Meh. You don't know what's gonna happen here, like straight up, you really don't. But hey, the dealers have accomplished their job. That's what I'm getting at. All right, let's actually hold this up. Before we sign off here, let's explore Sentiment Trader. All right, let's explore this. I also have Zero Hedge. I canceled that one. Yeah, right here. All right here, guys. You do have you have dumb money literally buying into this rally the past few days, and you have smart money dumping. Right, so I'm gonna go over this in my video. I am gonna do so. Definitely going over this in the video, but right here, I just want to show you guys, like, let's just look at the date. Where did they stop buying? All right. It was 505. Where did they start buying? All right. 502, 501, I guess you could say. 502. All right. Where was this? We're going to come over here to QQQ. 505. They stopped buying the day you started squeezing. Where did they start buying? The day you started to decline. All right, they bought right here. This is where smart money loaded the boat for this move right here. And then they completely have not been buying. They've actually been selling this whole time. All right, and guess who's buying? You get the dumb money. And guys, that's just mainly going to consist of retail. That is a guarantee. And yeah, they're buying. And that's what I've been trying to say these past like 2 videos I've made. All right, guess what? Not the most obvious short setup that everyone is like referring to this as. It's really not, like, straight up. All right, this is terrifying to go short here. To me, like, yeah, it isn't obvious. You buy dated puts here and like, yeah. All right, but like, yo, it's terrifying. All right, you know, like now, guys, Powell has passed. We don't have a catalyst, right? Yeah, I don't know if they're going to bring you back up today. That sucks. All right, and I'm not going to go short here again because, yeah, I don't know what freaking comes next. And like, you know, don't put yourself in that situation. Just don't do it. All right. Just literally don't do it. Your boy wants to do it, but he's not going to do it. Your boy wants to make a quick like 40, 50K. Your boy's not going to do it. Well, I mean, you know, if this thing tanks, then that will be the case. But, you know, I would like to make that money by the time, you know, QQQ came down here to say, you know, 330, 320. I don't know. All right. But just don't put yourself in that situation. Now, we did have VIX waking up today. It did start cooling off, though. You do have this hourly bullish divergence on the CCI down here. I typically like to see them on the RSI, though. So that is what I'll be watching for. But yeah, let's see if we can find anything here. All right. I really don't know how to use this thing. I really don't. Let's see what we got. All right. Optics heat map. What is that? What is that, guys? Oh. That is boring. Definitely boring. Stocks indicator list. What are the intraday? What are these? Showing excess optimism. Why is the green bar on the left side and the red bars are on the right side? I'm confused by this. Showing excess. Does this mean there's more optimism? See, this is what I'm saying. I don't know how to use this website, guys. I really don't. I really do not know how to use this thing. DX and a bear market. Like, I don't know what these things are. I will show you guys what I posted on Twitter today, though. This is something I found. Oh, I didn't actually. Oh, that is how I got there. All right. Come over here. There you go. You saw it silver. There you go. So that's it. That's what I saw. I didn't share it on Twitter. I shared it with the Discord. All right. But yeah, right here, guys. All right. I don't know. You know, this is, you know, if silver's falling, I'm pretty sure that equals demand destruction. If silver, copper, gold, I don't think too much is, yeah, not too much made with gold, but silver and copper over here, yeah, that is what's going to signal demand destruction. Guess what? Like, you know, what time does demand destruction come in and step in? Recession. That's when that steps in. Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this. All right. I guess I should look around on my own with this thing. All right. Not waste y'all's time. All right, guys, I will catch you, and I will be recording the video right after this one. I literally went live right when I got this freaking monitor hooked back up. It was definitely frustrating having it completely stop working an hour before Mr. Powell started talking, so there's that. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the video. Peace.